In 2015, I was a contestant on the 4th season of Who Reviews the Reviewers, a mock reality game show on the YouTube channel Geekvolution. Think American Idol, except instead of having to sing songs, you have to review movies, comic books, music, video games, television, what have you. The competition began with 12 hopefuls, and each round brought with it a different challenge. Round 1 was to review a website, round 3 was to make a review without editing, etc. By the time mid-September rolled around, we were getting down to the wire, the final 4. Those contestants were myself, that Matt Kid, Mr. Goodplot, and Mr. Cool 210. For this particular round, each contestant had to select the criteria for the item another contestant chose to review. I selected a 2000s action movie for that Matt Kid, who met that criteria with a review of Gamer, and Mr. Goodplot selected the criteria for me to review a 1990s horror film, which I in turn decided on Wes Craven's New Nightmare. It just so happens that at this time, the annual Rose City Comic Con was about ready to go, and would be having a special screening of director Wes Craven's original A Nightmare on Elm Street, followed by a Q&A with the actor who played Freddy Krueger, the legendary villain of the Nightmare franchise, Robert Englund, who would be attending the convention over the weekend. With Craven's tragic passing not even a month before, I thought of my review for this round of Who Reviews the Reviewers as something of a tribute to the man who changed the landscape of horror cinema multiple times in his prolific career. I saw this special screening as research, and Englund's appearance as serendipity. I had to go. I also figured I could pick Englund's brain about his memories of New Nightmare, see if I could get that on video and use it for my review. This could be a really good opportunity to impress the Who Reviews the Reviewers judges, I thought. By the way, how cool is it that this is all happening before my video's deadline? The screening was at the convention center on a Friday night at 8 o'clock, and I parked across the street at the Starbucks, giddy with anticipation. My phone's battery was low, but I was confident I could get that video footage as well as see a horror classic with a large number of fans. Sure enough, many Freddy Krueger fans showed up. The place was packed. This was also an experience I will never forget. I hadn't seen the original A Nightmare on Elm Street in a couple of years, and with Craven's passing found a new perspective I hadn't previously considered. My phone had died, so I wasn't able to record any footage of the Q&A, but I did get my question in, and it was amazing to see Robert Englund's adoration for his fans and this franchise. I left the convention center at roughly 11:30 p.m., feeling fulfilled by an evening of good stories and a good movie too, and couldn't wait to get back home to put the finishing touches on my review for Wes Craven's New Nightmare. The night air was perfectly refreshing, and as I crossed the street to Starbucks parking lot, I was suddenly filled with a sense of dread. Where was my car? The parking lot was empty. Was it stolen? Then my heart sank as I drew the only conclusion I could since there was no glass shattered across the concrete. My car had been towed. The night air suddenly felt cold, sending chills across my skin. Surely this had to be a mistake, I thought. There weren't any towing service signs. Except there were, hidden behind the blooming bushes. I began to panic a little when I thought to call my father for advice. Except, oh wait, my phone was dead. Great! What was I gonna do? That I began to panic a little turned into I began to panic a lot. But I regained my wits and had to think resourcefully. How do I find out where my car is in the middle of the night in Portland, Oregon? First things first, I grabbed the number of Security Towing and went across the street to Emergency Medical Clinic, which was thankfully open, and they graciously let me use their landline. I called Security Towing. The towing yard was located at 15th and Raleigh, over 2 miles away from the convention center. From there, I booked it. I was dressed in attire not meant for running, dress shirt, long pants, and nice brown shoes, but I didn't care. I ran full speed across the Seal Bridge, through the Pearl District as restaurants were getting out, and finally arrived, gasping for breath. Now, while it seemed I had a string of bad luck this night, it just so happens I had a birthday a couple weeks ago and still had $100 cash in my wallet, meant for new clothes. I used this cash to foot some of the bill to get my car out of the towing yard, with the other $140 going to my credit card. Would you look at that? Good luck! Getting back in my car after not having it for a couple hours was eye-opening. To have the privilege of being able to drive myself from place to place was a luxury I had most likely taken for granted before. I mean, I knew it was something to be grateful for, but it's the experience of not having something that really puts the things you do have into perspective. Over the weekend, I did end up attending Rose City Comic Con and got to meet and talk to Robert Englund and told him the story of getting my car back from being towed. And I was able to finish my review with the information I had received from attending the screening that night. As it turns out, I was the top banana for that particular round of Who Reviews the Reviewers. So, what lessons did I take from this experience? Well, a few actually. Always keep your phone charged. Bad luck is important in teaching you lessons as well as making for good stories. Be grateful for the things you have, and if you find yourself in a parking spot too good to be true, then it probably is.